welcome to Dabble Art Gym. We're your coaches, Dee Dee and Summyr, and we're here to train you how to work out your creative mind. At this point, you all know your watercolor basics and how to get into the flow state, so now we'll show you how to dabble in watercolors to paint a whale.
But first, subscribe and hit the bell so you can get notified when we release all the newest Dabble exercises and motivational hacks. We are your art coaches here to guide you into a happier lifestyle by utilizing your inner creativity.
We found happiness through dabbling, and we want you to be able to do the same.
Before we begin, we want to remind you that the purpose of dabbling isn't to create a masterpiece. The purpose is to bring in flow. And flow is a state of being where you are so immersed in an activity that you become flooded with positive emotions simply from enjoying the present moment. And the more you practice this routine, the easier it will be to call in flow. And as a bonus, you will begin to see your art skills improving.
First, we will use breath work to get rid of negative thoughts. Second, we will use positive affirmations to get into the right mindset. The third and most important step is to stay mindful while you paint to connect yourself to the present moment. This is your time to flow. The fourth and final step is to listen to music to fuel your flow. So to get started, we will need to draw our little whale friend. If you'd like to draw a whale on your own, or you want to draw something different, or you just feel like getting straight to painting, feel free to skip this section. I highly suggest using a reference when drawing, unless you're a master artist and you don't need one, but it's really good especially if you were just starting out. Drawing from a reference will train your eye to see the basic shapes that make up an object. You can use reference straight from life, photographs, or other artwork that you enjoy looking at. In this case, I'm going to use Dee Dee's whale as a reference because look at how cute it is. So as you can see, this demo is digital, but I would suggest you set yourself up with a sheet of watercolor paper, a pencil or a light colored pencil, and a clean eraser. What I'm going to do is look at the overall shape of the whale and study what I see. We want to break it down into the most simple shapes as possible. When I look at the body, tail, and fins separately, I'm seeing these sort of half moon shapes. I want to hold the images of these half moon shapes in my mind as if to take a mental picture. That way, when I look at my blank paper, I can use my imagination to visualize those shapes that I took mental note of. So before that invisible image disappears, let's sketch it out. Very light and loose, we'll sketch out exactly what we see. And it could be a quick sketch before that image fades away. Figuratively speaking, just get those basic shapes in there. And now we have our rough block of shapes. What I want to do is, again, study the shapes of this whale. I really like this arched back she has right here and how the tail flips up. And it has this deep belly leading up toward the bottom of its chin. What I'm going to do is lightly sketch out this big belly circle shape here because I know I want to keep that. I like that a lot. Then we're going to swoop up and get his head shape. And this will already naturally create, if we ignore our half moon back right here, we naturally get this arch shape. So we'll just start carving out what we want to keep. I like how his tail kind of comes back up. So we'll have this arch right here where we go down into the belly, flipping that tail up. Continue along the underbelly. And there's this little carve into the chin as we get to its nose. So we'll get that in there. Not exact, but it's looking pretty good. We'll get into its tail. Whales in the middle of their tail tend to have this little indentation, this little V shape. So I'm gonna add that in there because I like that shape a lot. Mine's a little more prominent than Dee Dee's, but that's okay. I am just adding in my own twist. Get in the fins. I like to add little indentations in the fins. Whale fins aren't perfect. I am going to see where I want to put his eyeball. Looks like a good spot. We'll get into his belly, his white belly, and add some lines in right here. Okay, so now we have a very messy sketch. But what's good about that is we can now outline it. But first I would suggest to start erasing some of the areas you know you aren't keeping. So we know we don't want any of that middle sketch shape, all those lines. So we'll get rid of that mess and just kind of go around and clean up everything that you know you don't want in your painting later. All right, now I'm gonna start my outline. You know, go over with pencil what you want to keep and erase what you don't, and just make sure it's nice and clean for your paint. And don't forget to get rid of all those nasty eraser marks that happen. Okay, now we have our outline. Let's paint.
Before I do any painting, I like to test out my colors on a scrap piece of paper right next to me. So I highly recommend you do the same. So there, I found out I have a good blue, and I'm going to start creating the outline of my whale. As you can see, I'm using the crescent moons that Summyr talked about. Even though I'm using the crescent moons, my whale is already looking different than Summyr's sketch, and that's totally fine. Everyone's whale is supposed to look different. The first thing I felt like doing was breaking up these sharp lines. So to do that, I took a brush that just had water on it and used it to blend the paint from the lines towards the center. So I'm starting with softer colors. In watercolor, you want to work light to dark because it's easier to put dark colors on top of light colors. Again, I am going with the flow and just picking whatever colors are calling to me. If you want to watch a more in-depth breakdown of the techniques I'm using, make sure that you watch our past video. I linked it above as well as in the description below. So I'm almost finished here, and as you can see, my whale kind of looks like a beluga whale. I didn't mean for that to happen, but it's kind of fun that that was the result. You never know what you're gonna get when you play intuitively like this. We're gonna switch over to Summyr, and she has painted a whale as well, and she's gonna show you how she can add different mediums on top to jazz it up a bit.
Black pen to mine to just add a couple details. I'm using a micron pen here. They're my absolute favorite and I highly recommend them. They don't bleed if you decide to add water-based paint over your lines once you're done. I wanted to add a couple highlights in areas that I wanted to stand out, so I'm using a white jelly roll pen here. And I'm adding some splatter paint to mine as well because Dee Dee did that and it looks awesome.
If you enjoyed this video and would like to get started on your own whale creation, click this link in the description below. We have put together a watercolor kit with all the supplies you need. It even includes an outline of a whale so you can begin dabbling right away.
If you would like to learn more about fundamental watercolor techniques or how to enter that flow state, be sure to check out these videos here.
Subscribe to our channel and turn notifications on if you would like to get alerted when we release our videos every other Thursday. Thank you again, and please like and share with your friends.